tell me that you understand it. Don't tell me that I'm too demanding. I need you to show me you're taking this too slowly. Don't tell me that you're what I need, no. I believe that when I see so. Time for you to show me. Hush your lips, stop your
So y'all, the sun has came out, so I'm excited. I can't get in there, but that's the first coat of spray. I'm gonna let this completely dry. And I know I said I wasn't gonna sand it, but I'm gonna have to sand it in order for it to come out a little bit smooth. But since the sun is out, I'm going to go back. I've been working back here. Yesterday I hooked up the power air sander and I sanded some of the frame down because we're getting ready to prep it for priming it. But for some reason my air sander wasn't getting it how I wanted to, so I have some 80 grit sandpaper, and as you guys can see, I am hand sanding the frame. So I'm gonna go over the whole frame. I removed the lights, and I'm working in mud today because when I power washed it, you know, we parked the truck over an old garden, so it's kind of sinky and muddy. So we're working in a dirty environment, but I took the brake lights out because I want to sand this back area real good. And I also removed the mud flaps on the back end of the truck. And I'm just going to take my time and go over it with some 80 grit sandpaper and rub down the whole rear end of the frame. And then I'm going to go back over it with some I'll show you guys when I get to the sandpaper. Jason's actually guided me, so we're going over it with a coarse grit, and then we're going to use a more softer sandpaper to smoothen out all the scratches before we prime it. So stay tuned. All right, you guys, so we got the frame sanded, and I know y'all gonna be looking at the details, but we're not really so much focused on the inside of the frame, but mainly the outside of the frame, because it's just the location of where the truck is. It's kind of hard to get it cleaned and power washing. It's like when you turn on the power washer, the washer is just blasting the mud back up into the frame. So today we did get a chance to sand the drive shaft and some of a little bit of the air tanks, but we decided we're going to just focus on the outside of the rear frame. We're going to be doing it in three stages. We're going to do from this end of the truck on down, that portion of the frame, and then once we get the truck moved, we're going to blast out the inside, all of the differentials and shafts, and then we're going to power wash it, sand it really good, and then spray it. And then we're going to go back and do the front end of the truck. But this is what we got so far. We have power washed it, sanded it with the D8 sander, then we went back and hand sanded it. I was going to go back over it with a smaller sand grit, but I changed my mind. We're going to go ahead and prime it first, the outside, and see how much of the primer filler up, how it looks after we prime it. And maybe we'll go back and maybe throw some Bondo on it before we spray it. But we're going to prime it here, and when we paint it, we're just going to prime it today. When we paint it, that's when we're going to move it. We're going to move it over to that drier area so that it won't be trash in the paint, or as much trash in the paint. It's only so much you can do when you're outside and you're dealing with insects and so many free radicals. But we hand sanded it, and I went and took some degreaser and washed it again, sanded it again, and then I took some wax and grease removal and washed it down. So that's what I'm waiting to dry it up with. I'm about to take some more towels and wipe it down, the wet areas that's around the fifth wheel, while the rest of the frame is actually drying right now. It looks pretty dry, but we'll show you guys how it look after we get it primed. We already got our mud flaps and tanks covered. I just went to the dollar store and got some tablecloths and kind of cut them up and put them over the tanks and over these 2 mud flaps because I couldn't get the mud flaps off. But this is what it's looking like, you guys. All right, so the sun has went down. This is what we have accomplished so far. Hold on, my camera. Which way is my camera? It's kind of dirty. Yep, today we removed, lighten it up. We removed all of the reflectors off of the truck. And so far, I gotta get, let's see if we can see inside of here. This is what the first coats of the red is looking like. You can't really see it that good because it's kind of dark in here. The sun is going down, but I have to wait until the store gets another 2 cans of red fabric spray. They only order 2 cans at a time, but we were able to successfully, or I don't know if you guys call it a success, but we were able to paint the frame. I'm sorry, not paint it, but prime it. The whole rear. I don't know if Jason got some clips. We didn't prime the inside. We used the whole, I just used the last bit of primer just so I won't waste it, and sprayed some of the drive shaft on the center. But for the most part, we just wanted to get the outside part of the frame painted. And this is my last time for today going in this this muddy area. So we're gonna wait until it dries, which is tomorrow, and we will wet sand it with a soft grit sandpaper. This is how it's looking on the other side. We're gonna wet sand it with a soft grit sandpaper. I did get a little bit of the paint on this part of the mud flap, but I don't care because I'm gonna spray it black. I was able to get that portion. I didn't spray the tank, but get that clamp. I did spray a little bit on the tank bracket, but I'm pretty sure over time we can sand that off or fix it. I don't really care. I just want to spray my frame. But tomorrow we're gonna wet sand the frame, and then I don't know when Jason's gonna actually spray the paint on there, but that's all we got done. Oh, I gotta show you guys this side of the truck. We were really working on outside stuff. We took the rest of the lights off of here, and we got the Mickey Mouse lights off the hood. The headlights are gone, so the truck is looking like Jeepers Creepers. And this is what we're looking like. That's it, you guys. Stay tuned for the next video. You might get to see us painting the frame.